It is the summer of 1225, and Francis can hardly see any longer. His eyes, ruined by years of hardship and by an illness he had probably caught in the East, burn in the light as though they were full of sand. The physicians of that time tried to treat him by cauterizing the skin of his temples with a red-hot iron, and he had agreed to it. He cannot travel, he cannot preach along the roads as before. So he finds refuge at San Damiano, the small church outside the walls of Assisi that he himself had repaired with his own hands years earlier, and where Claire now lives with her companions. For him, they set up a hut of mats in the garden beside the monastery. It is there, in that poor shelter, that he remains for weeks, sick and almost blind. The sources tell us that the trial was harsh on the inside as well. In that hut at night, he was tormented by mice, which ran over him and let him neither sleep nor pray. A man who suffers in everything, in his body and in his eyes in the dark, overrun by animals. And it is from this lowest point, not from a garden in bloom, that the text is born for which we still know him today. One morning, after a night of pain, Francis does not curse his condition. Instead, he begins to compose a song of praise for creation, and he does it in the tongue the people spoke, the Umbrian vernacular, not in the Latin of the learned. It is the Canticle of the Creatures, called also the Canticle of Brother-Son. Its first words, Altissimo, Omnipotent, Bon Signor, Most High, Almighty, Good Lord, are among the oldest that have reached us of a true literature in the Italian tongue. Before then, cultivated poetry was written in Latin, or else in Provençal, the language of the troubadours that Francis knew well from his youth. He does something different. He takes the everyday speech, that of the merchants and the peasants of Umbria, and he uses it to say the highest thing. This is his merit that few know of. It is not only a prayer, it is one of the first bricks of our language, written by a man who was not a man of letters by profession. The way in which he praises is particular, and it has made scholars argue for centuries. Francis does not say only praised for the sun, for the water, for the fire. He says, Laudato si me, Signor, per sora nostra mater terra, praised be you, my Lord, through our sister Mother Earth, and he calls the creatures brother and sister, brother sun, sister moon, brother wind, sister water. These are not a postcard summary in verse. They are the mark of a precise vision, in which every created thing is kin to man because it comes from the same God. The sun, the water, the fire, the earth are not objects to be used. They are members of the family to be thanked. But the canticle is not born all at once. The ancient sources keep the memory of two later editions, and it is here that the story becomes exact chronicle. In those months, Assisi was split by a fierce quarrel between its two authorities, the Bishop Guido, the same who years before had welcomed Francis naked upon the square, and the Podesta who governed the commune. The two had excommunicated and banished one another, and the city was poisoned. Francis, sick in his hut, came to know of it and grieved over it. So he added to the canticle a new strophe on forgiveness. Laudato si me, Signor, per quelli che perdonano per lo tuo amore. Praised be you, my Lord, through those who forgive for your love. Then he sent the brothers to summon the bishop and the podesta before the palace, and there he had the canticle sung with that new strophe. The sources report that the two men listening were moved, asked one another's pardon, and were reconciled. A song in the vernacular had made peace where politics had failed. The last strophe came later still, when Francis understood that he was near the end. It is the one on Sora nostra mort corporale, de la quale nullo homo vivent po scapere, our sister bodily death, from whom no living man can escape. He calls sister even death, the last creature, the one that all men fear. He does not deny it and he does not adorn it. He welcomes it as a kinswoman who will come to take him. The sources tell that he wished to hear the canticle with this final strophe in his last days of life. All this tells us a thing worth pausing upon. The most luminous text of Francis, the one that speaks of the sun and of the stars, was not written by a man who was well and looking out upon a fine landscape. It was composed in the dark by a sick and blind man in a hut full of mice, and completed while he was thinking of peace between enemies and of his own death. Praise is not the denial of pain. It is a choice made within pain, and it is also, without his having sought it, the active birth of a new tongue. That canticle, however, is not the only thing that Francis has left us in writing. In those same years he dictated rules, letters, and prayers, and shortly before dying a testament with which he meant to set everything in order. In the next chapter, we shall enter among his pages, to discover who Francis truly was as an author, a layman who was never a priest and who nonetheless shaped words destined to last 800 years.